I think the best thing to do is take 3 to 5 KPIs and start simple, start tracking that, and then build them out as you find that you need more and more of that information to tell the story. Because as you learn how to read that data and track that data and see what it's internally doing within your business, like you don't want to be 100 grand one month and zero the next month. And like you want to create stability and continuity in your revenue. And KPIs help you do that for sure. But you have to understand what like tells the story within your business and are the meaningful metrics within your business.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to the next episode of the Tactical Empire. We're joined by Shawn Rider. What's up, man?
I'm thinking about the meme where like the dog who's a human is standing there with a cup of coffee in his hand and everything's on fire around him. And he's like, it's fine. Everything's fine. You know, it's just one of those.
I feel like that sometimes.
I know. Life is good. Like my life is legit good, but you and I were just talking about stuff and we cracked a joke. And that's the first image that came into my mind was like just the dude that's standing there like everything's going to shit. Here we are. It's fine. Why? Don't even bring it up. It's good. It's good.
In situations like that, when life gets that way, I always try to acutely examine whether like it's my fault for have I chased chaos or am I highly resilient in this situation? Because I can tell myself either one of those, but I try to be very honest with myself, especially about chasing chaos, because I am not at a point in life when I want to be doing that.
Creating your own living hell sometimes is
Yes.
I've been using that phrase a lot recently when I'm talking to people. I'm like, you're just creating your own hell by like talking about this thing this way and thinking about this and creating this story and getting all worked up. So we all get worked up about certain things. So I have my things as well, but it does actually come up to the topic of the day of like, what we're looking at and how we're looking at it. Is it the right things? And in particular, the context at which I'm going to bring this up is I mean, you could say it for people that have W-2 incomes, but I'm just going to use the phrase business owners. Business owners, and particularly men, they think the big swinging dick measure is sales, like total revenue. Mm-hmm. Right off the bat, what are potentially, again, this is different industry to industry, what are other KPIs that business owners, regardless of the industry, would be more important or as equally important as that revenue number?
Oh, I mean, profit, first of all, no
Sure.
question. And then effective hourly rate is the second one, I would say. Like, how much money do you make per hour for the efforts that you put into your business? And this is not to, like, this isn't for the starters, I guess. I mean, like ultimately, after your business is profitable, then you've kind of got that breathing room to where like, okay, now I want to go to the next level of creating how much money I want to make. And then from there, it's like, how much time do I have to spend creating that amount of money ultimately? And you try to create an inversion to where it's less time for more money over time. And that's just as you get more and more sophisticated and kind of elevate yourself as running that particular business. You become more efficient. Like on the last episode, we were talking about money-making activities. You prioritize those money-making activities, and then you prioritize working in your zone of genius too. Because I mean, we work with a lot of business owners that are under $1 million of gross, which most businesses are, quite frankly. Let's be honest. I mean, like 90% of businesses or 95% of businesses don't ever hit 7 figures, which is fine. You can carve yourself out a nice life as a business owner without ever hitting 7 figures. And so you really have to be careful about the cost of going to the next level? Higher numbers, higher problems, higher staff. Is there ways to create the exact business you want within the parameters of what you've already created and have? And then it's about, in my mind, lifestyle optimization and shit like that. But like, I don't want to get off track from where you were trying to take the original thing with KPIs. But obviously, profitability matters, because like, and then return on investment. If you put your own capital in on the front end, then if you go out and get a bunch of loans on it, it's return on leverage, kind of. And you want to understand that. And then, do you deal with debt well? How quickly do you want to get out of debt? All that. I mean, but predictability is another huge one that came to mind right when you brought it up, meaning like you need to understand your sales process, lead flow, lead generation, close rate, show rate, all that stuff. You want to really understand within your own walls. Like that's what's weird about business in these days. Like, with all these virtual businesses standing up in the way business in the creator world and all this other stuff, like, what does business look like? I mean, even in the mastermind space, consulting space, coaching space, a lot of people have gone to selling by DMs. There's not even conversations. So what does that look like? And then obviously, if you can sell high ticket through DMs, you're much better off than scheduling these big, long consulting calls with people. And so every system is different, but you want to really understand. That's why looking at it as a third party, like we get to, is where it's very powerful, because then you can look at all the different levers they have the ability to pull. And those KPIs, I mean, there's basic KPIs that you need to understand in every business, but like, what is more important based on the business owner is sometimes based on what they want out of their business and out of their life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think profit is the easy one, right? Like, you got to be able to make money, or else you don't have a business. So let's just throw that one under the rug. Like, that's easy. I like all the ones you listed. Effective hourly rate, right, is how much work do I do, and then divide that time into how much I make. You could have $1,000 EHR, effectively hourly rate, but if you're only working, or if you're only working 1 hour and you're making $1,000, your EHR is $1,000. But if that's all you do, then $1,000 isn't enough to pay the mortgage. So EHR complemented with like total of, the net benefit. How are you benefiting from your business? That is your paycheck. That is your ability to run certain expenses through your business that are business expenses but benefit you personally. And then again, complemented with EHR, how much time do you actually spend on the business versus lifestyle optimization, which you brought up. I would look at the net benefit, the effective hourly rate. Within the business, I would do the sales metrics, like you said. We have to sell, whether it's the marketing sales metrics of leads trickled all the way down to close rate, or the total front end revenue that we get, or how often a customer repeats purchase, or one-time purchases versus subscription purchases. Whatever your main product base is, I think there's a KPI within there that could probably pull itself forward as the best above all the others. For example, we had our Tactical Empire meeting with the team today, and we go over KPIs, and one that we don't have on the document, but I've been talking about recently is churn. We have great retention, right? Like, we are actually in the top 2 percentile of all Stripe accounts in terms of retention. And I clicked on it today while we were on that meeting, and we had 100% retention last month. Normally our churn is 1.5%, which is super low. I think any business would take a 1.5% churn rate. Our churn was 0% last month, which means we lost nobody in the month of July. Any business would take that as a main KPI on being able to keep customers, keep repeat subscription-based customers. Here's a KPI, is employee retention complemented with employee benefit, right? So we could say that you have, and this is why all these KPIs have to work in unison to create a full story. We could say that you have huge profits, But if you're not utilizing some of those profits to reward your best people, and then you have high employee turnover, you're gold in one hand and shit in the other. I don't think that's a successful business, because going back to the original comment is the swing and dick KPI, which is people just want to talk about revenues. Like, and I read this in a book somewhere, so this isn't my thought, but like I read somewhere where it was like, construction people or like big construction contractors. They're like, oh yeah, my business does $10 million. But like in the example, it said 90% of that gets outsourced to other companies because they contract them to do the work. So you have a $10 million revenue business, but right off the top, 9 million of that goes to somebody else that you've contracted. Then you have your own expenses that you have to deal with, marketing to get the jobs, admin to get the jobs, and then they're making like $100,000 on 10 million, right? Like that's all of this tells a story. And so revenues don't tell the full story. I want this episode to let business owners know that you need to create your menu of KPIs and what they represent within your business versus what your expectations are of these. So, when you're not meeting, we just talked about this with a guy in the 90-day accelerator. Like we said, send us all your financials. And so we can find the holes in them based on your expectations from the beginning of the year. And then once we see where that hole is, then we talk about the strategies behind those KPIs.
Yep. But a lot of times people use these KPIs as vanity numbers, though. Honestly, sure. I mean, they should build as your business builds in complexity, right? Because you need to understand, like if you've got $10 million of revenue, you need to understand before you go spending money on ads and things like that, you have to understand your total addressable market. And then you would want to be tracking your ROAS and return on ad spend and things like that not everybody needs, right? If you're not pushing ads, you don't have that KPI. Before you start advertising, you really want to understand like what that looks like in your community as well. So from a different business types, I don't know. I think the best thing to do is take 3 to 5 KPIs and start simple, start tracking that, and then build them out as you find that you need more and more of that information to tell the story. Because as you learn how to read that data and track that data and see what it's internally doing within your business, because you also want to create a system where you don't have like a Richter scale of volatility of sales numbers and financial numbers. Like you don't want to be $100,000 one month and zero the next month. And like you want to create stability and continuity in your revenue, and KPIs help you do that for sure. But you have to understand what actually tells the story within your business and are the meaningful metrics within your business.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't questioned the metrics in your business and why they are what they are and which ones are the gold standard for your particular business, this is your wake-up call to do so this week. If you need help, go ahead and reach out to Jeff and I. Jeff, send the people out.
And what gets watched grows, guys. So like if you're not paying attention to these things, don't be surprised when they don't increase and you end up having flat years annually. So that said, up into the Tactical Empire community. Give us any questions that you've got, guys. Send us a DM. We're happy to engage with you. If you have any questions about anything, infinite banking, 7 levels of financial freedom, Operation Wealth, the book, if you haven't got it, go get it. Hop into our community. We'd love to have you, and have a great week and keep kicking ass.